Hola a todos, hi everyone. I'm honored to be here once again with you all. Let me first thank all the organizers because they have been really supportive and they always care about us. Well, my study, and the title of this study is Effectiveness of Role Play in Learning COVID-19 Vocabulary in Medical Setting. It's about languages for specific purposes. I deal with the ESP, in particular, I deal with business, legal and medical scientific English. This study is part of a study conducted in a non-academic setting, and it's about methodologies to improve the learning and acquisition of the COVID-19 terminology from ESL students. Well, we are all aware the health emergency generated by the coronavirus changed the way we express ourselves. Indeed, new words were born and others changed in meaning. I like to refer to these new creations as a linguistic innovation, a linguistic pandemic, because new words were born. We were not aware of new words like COVID-19 before the pandemic. But COVID-19 had a huge impact on all languages all around the world, especially English, because we assisted to new developments in the English language. The word coronavirus is not a pure neologism. We can talk about a semantic neologism because the oldest attestation of coronavirus in the English language dates back to 1968 and it's recorded in the Oxford English Dictionary. But coronavirus at the beginning referred to animal species and it was used by medical experts. With the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic, there has been a spillover, so the virus was able to infect humans, not only animal species. And we have a new entry of a coronavirus, which dates back to 2020 and was registered by the Oxford Dictionary of English. This new meaning of coronavirus indicates a type of virus that can cause pneumonia and other disease both in humans and animals. The Italian language has always borrowed lots of Anglicism in its language. New terms and expressions have been created with reference to the COVID-19 pandemic or borrowed from English, as I told you before. Think about lockdown or green pass or COVID manager. We have in Italian the equivalent of those words, but in the pandemic phase and nowadays we prefer to use the English words. In fact, Anglicisms are the most numerous and frequent loan words in the Italian language. And this spread can be attributed to the three main qualities most prominent Italian scholars have attributed to English. The first one is that English is considered the language of successful people. Think about business people. Second, it is a simple language, concise, and it's compact. And then it is considered more effective than Italian in international contexts. COVID-19 falls within medical discourse. This is the heart of this study. Medical discourse turns around diagnosis, treatment, healing, therapy, prevention, medical practices, oral and written discourse, that contribute to the medical establishment. Medical discourse, for its nature, is a part of language for specific purposes. Indeed, it shares with all other languages for specific purposes. Think about business or legal. Some linguistic and stylistic features. It uses specialized terminology. It's characterized by complexity, high complexity, by high precision, and by neutral, impersonal, and homogeneous style. Moving on, the aim of my study is to highlight the effectiveness of role play in English for specific purposes classrooms. Role play is a strong teaching method that really helps students improve their vocabulary and memorize new COVID-19 terminology. I applied Knowles' principles, which I have summarized in this diagram. The 6 principles are the need to know, the self-concept, the role of experience, readiness to learn, the orientation to learning, and last but not least, motivation. In terms of methodology, the participants of the study were 30 adult learners. They were between 20 and 50 years old. There were 18 male and 12 female. They had an intermediate or lower intermediate level of English. They all had a diploma, and they were attending a vocational course for nursing aides. The setting was no academic because I conducted this study in an educational center which provided this vocational course for training aides. With regard to the study design, I selected 4 scenarios. For dialogues. One dialogue between doctor and nursing aide, a second dialogue between nurse and nursing aide, a third dialogue between nursing aide and patient, and a fourth dialogue between nursing aide and patient relatives. I also carried out a PEST assessment through a questionnaire of 10 multiple choices to measure the interest of my students in the role play. To design this role play, I used a 3-step approach. The first step is setting the stage. It's the stage in which the teacher gives instructions. The second step is implementation. It's the execution of a role play. And the third step is evaluation, and it carries on post-assessment, feedbacks from peers and the teacher. Well, when conducting a role play, we have to bear in mind that it's not really easy because learners' initial reaction might be fear, intimidation, shyness, lack of confidence, or poor level of the language knowledge. And the study has some limitations because of the number of students was low. I had 30 adult learners and not everyone was really involved. Some of them acted as players, but others acted as observers. Anyway, despite this, students' opinions, which I assessed through the questionnaire, were really positive. In conclusion, I suggest using role play in both non-academic and academic setting because it entails some benefits, which I have listed. The list is endless, but I can summarize the benefits of role play by saying that it promotes active learning, it stimulates learners' interest because they're really curious to conduct the role play. It helps learners develop ideas, attitudes, values, It promotes collaborative learning because students learn from each other and help each other. And in the end, it helps building self-confidence. But in order to carry out a good role play, don't forget that we as teachers need to act as facilitator, so we always need to be prepared and well organized. Thank you for your attention. I hope you enjoyed my research study.